Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Dr. Calvin. We're coming right before the show. Listen, I'm about to go live in about 5 minutes for this week's edition of Dialogues with Doc. This is the 1 year anniversary show, so I want you guys to be present, accounted for, and don't miss this awesome and amazing topic that I have an amazing guest joining me on in just a few. So I will be back shortly. Love you guys. Hey family, what's going on? Good people, what's going on? What's going on? Hey, I miss you guys. It's Wednesday, another amazing Wednesday. It's August the 4th, 2021, and this is the 1 year anniversary show of Dialogues with the Doc. So listen, I am so excited to be with you guys on tonight. I'm ready. Thank you guys. Salute to everybody who has been rocking with me from the beginning. This is the brainchild I came up with during COVID, just to provide a safe space to have different dialogues and conversations about any and everything for everybody. So if you know, we started this thing a year ago. The show was on the importance of your dash. That was my very first show. And tonight we are looking at parenting from a different lens. So I'm in this parenting bag. I don't know why. I'm nobody's parent as of yet. But I guess because I'm an educator in a school, I'm educating and being someone's parent each and every day. So I'm still in this bag for a minute. So tonight I'm going to rock out some more with another amazing guest, another amazing topic. But before we guys get started, you know the house rules. If you're watching right now, like during the broadcast, comment during the broadcast, share the broadcast. And if you're watching on the YouTube channel, please, sir, please, ma'am, please subscribe. Again, house rules: like, comment, share, subscribe. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I have some amazing guests who've been joining me throughout the year. Tonight's going to be no exception. Tonight, my guest is amazing. She is super. She is awesome. And the crazy part about it is I'm excited because I've never met her. Most of my guests are people that I know or I'm connected with. But tonight, this is an amazing guest I've become attached and connected to over the past couple of weeks because of someone else that I know who said that's who you need if you want to go in this direction. So I'm so awesomely excited to have her joining me on tonight. Tonight's show is parenting from a different lens and a whole lot more. So we're going to start in one direction, but because my guest tonight has a lot going on, I want to just touch on as much as I can. I got some questions. Lo and behold, I'm today writing down some more questions before we get on the show that I didn't even get to or think about. But tonight I'm excited. Tonight I'm hyped. You see, I'm ready. Cheers to you guys again for joining me and rocking with me for the past year. If you're watching tonight's show, let me know where you're watching from. I want to know where you're watching from. I want to shout you out. Also, tonight's show sponsor is the 3050 Company. They have a Doc Verde Dialogues with Doc special going on right now. So 3050 Company, Jamal Malik was one of my guests about a month ago. This young, amazing man does it all, from jewelry to lapel pins. It's just a bunch of thoughts and concepts behind things you can wear, things you can definitely enjoy. If you go to 3050company.com, use the discount code Doc Verde. Tell them Doc Verde, Dialogues with Doc sent you. Use that discount code and find you something nice for you, for your boo, for your boo you're trying to get rid of, or your mama or whoever. Go to the website, use the code. You guys will definitely find some good stuff. I know I have each and every time that I go there. So tonight, let's get into this thing. I'm nervous. I'm always nervous before a show, but tonight I'm really nervous because this guest that I'm going to bring on has a lot to share and a lot to say. But of course, you know, we can't bring any of our guests on Dialogues with Doc without bringing them on the right way. So you know how we guys do things on the right way. So let me bring my guests on the proper way. We bring our guests on with Dialogues with Doc, and I'll be right back after these messages. Good evening.
Hi.
How are you?
I am great. Great.
Thank you for joining me tonight. Tell me, am I giving you Teddy Riley? Can you hear me good? I don't want to give you Teddy Riley on the verses. I want to make sure you can hear me.
I can hear you really good.
Okay. How are you this evening, Jazz?
I'm doing pretty good. I just got some disturbing news that another Black trans woman was murdered earlier today in New York, where they found her body inside her home. So the person who informed me was actually someone who was my gay godmother, and that's her daughter. So she reached out to me because she know how I am about my trans girls, and she know how I like to fight for them. So she contacted me and just let me know. So now I was actually reaching out to a couple of organizations and a couple of people all over the U.S. to inform them about this news, so we can get hopefully HRC could be a part of this and see what's going on to somehow get some type of justice served for this individual.
Well, listen, my condolences to you for just receiving that news, and right before we go into this dialogue, because that was actually when I changed the topic tonight to parenting from different ends and a whole lot more. I wanted to go in that vein as well. I wanted to go there later on, but can we just stay in that vein right now while we're there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's start this thing off by just telling people who you are and what you do and how you are attached to the trans community. And I want to say your Ebony name right, but I don't want to butcher it. So tell me how to say it before I.
Okay, my ballroom name is Sah'meria Ebony.
Sah'meria Ebony. Okay, that's what I was gonna say. But I don't want to say it wrong in this. Okay,
everybody for some reason, a lot of children get it right, but adults always get it wrong.
Figures. Sah'meria Ebony, Jasmine McKenzie is joining me tonight on this amazing show. I'm on digress and let you just jump in real quick and tell the people about you, who you are, the great work that you're doing, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, I first want to say thank you, Doc, for having me on this platform today. My name is Jasmine McKenzie. I am a 32-year-old Black transgender woman who lives in Miami, Florida. I have worked. Yes. I just probably about a year ago, I started my own organization, which is now a 501c3 nonprofit organization, which is a pro organization for Black transgender and non-binary individuals ages 18 and up, where they can come to the McKenzie Project and they can learn other outlets to get income, so they don't have to depend on doing survival sex work, and they don't have to deal with facing homelessness. And when I say other skills, I mean skills as in like sewing classes. Like I just got 2 new sewing machines. I have a heat press machine so they can learn how to print on t-shirts, cups, bags, purses, and all that stuff. So I'm just trying to figure out different things and different avenues for trans people to come together as one and learn some type of, training so they don't have to depend on sex work, because in this community, sex work is like a number one priority for a lot of trans folks, and specifically Black trans folks, because when we are into our transitions and we come into play and say, hey, mom, or hey, dad, or hey, grandma, or hey, granny, or whoever it may be, when we come to the conclusion and say, hey, I am trans, the first thing they say is, get out. You gotta get out my door. And when you have so many young trans folks that's so young that's being kicked out, they don't know what to do. They don't know what to go. So all they know is, girl, I see somebody over there, my good girlfriend. Oh, she got a nice house, she got a nice car, she's working the ads. I'm finna go work the ad. So that's all they know. So I'm trying to embed in their heads that sex work is not the first option that you always have to go through.
Definitely.
I was a person of that. I was 14 years old when I was kicked out of my home because at that time I chose to be gay. And at that time I didn't have a big crowd of people who I could say, hey, can I stay with you? I need somewhere to stay. And the person who became my gay mother, she's also in the house, and she's the godmother for the House of Ebony, which is daughter Ebony. And at 14, she, brought me under her wings. But, of course, she was living with her family, and she had her own agenda that she had to work with. So when I really needed a place to stay, she opened her doors and gave me somewhere to stay. But outside of that, I had to do survival sex work. I had to go inside stores and do shoplifting to get clothes and shoes to put on my back. I had to steal clothes to sell things. So it's like, I don't want the new generation of people to face that.
Right. Now listen, okay, now you done took me all the way through my notes. And I'm like, okay, I gotta jump in here somewhere to tap in. I'm gonna go back to the beginning let me go here. What was life like growing up for you? So you said at 14 you got kicked out. You said you were gay. What was it like up to that very moment or after that point where you were like, you know what, I'm different. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be doing something totally different. And this being kicked out was actually, it hurt, but it was a blessing.
Yeah, it hurt me. It was a blessing because at 14, which was 2 weeks before my 15th birthday, I met an individual who was a bit older than me. At that time, I was 14 and this individual was 46. So this person, they opened their doors, gave me somewhere to stay, gave me food, clothes, bought me my first car to say, hey, this is a car. You can use this car. Mind you, I don't have no license now. But in his mind, he didn't care about the license. All he cared about is I am a 14-year-old child that's about to turn 15 in 2 weeks. I needed to go to school. He gave me somewhere to stay. He gave me a car. He said, hey, make sure you go to school. And at that time, because I was so young and, my mind wasn't there, I was going through a lot of stuff physically, emotionally. School wasn't an option for me. It wasn't my thing to say, I'm going to make sure I go to school and get my high school diploma. It's like I'll go sometimes, then sometimes I wouldn't go. But I really think the point that really took me was when my aunt went out to the school and had a conversation with my teacher. Now, this is the same aunt who I was living with who told me to get out of her house when I was 14. And the reason she told me to get out of her house because she went to work, me being fast, me being grown, on a dating app, which was called BGC Live. I was on a dating app, and I met someone who I was in a relationship with at the time. And we was good friends for probably about 6 to 7 months. And when she would go to work, I would invite him over and he would just come over and just chill for the night or whatever. And he would drop me off to school sometimes. So this particular day, she got into an argument with her supervisor and she came home early. And when she came home early, she came knocking on my door like, why is your door locked? Your room door is never locked. When I'm here or not here, your door's never locked. And your door should not be locked because you're paying no bills in this house. Right. So that was her thing. So she was upset and going through what she was going through with her people at work. So she came home, and I honestly feel like that anger that she was going through was pushed on me. But at the same time, while it was being pushed on me, it was at the wrong timing because I had someone in my room, and me trying to sneak him to hide in the closet. Him not listening to what I'm saying. I'm telling him to go in the closet, put the blankets on top of you, and just lay there. Instead of him doing that, he just went in the closet and was like, just there. And she checked the room, was doing her fussing, arguing. She seen him in the room. She was like, oh, is this the life you choose? This is what you want to do. This is what you want to be. Not in my house. Get the fuck out of my motherfucking house. So at that time, I'm like, where the fuck am I going to go this time of night? Where am I going to go? So it was a person who's a good friend of mine. His name is Tyrell Rowe. He has an organization in Vegas called the Rowe Project, which is a dance company. Because I was in dancing school, and he was the first person I called, and he was like, "Well, what are you gonna do? Like, I can't bring you into my home because I think at the time I don't think his family knew he was gay, but he couldn't bring me into my home. So that person, 46-year-old, said, "Come to my house."
Right.
And what a lot of people don't know, and a lot of people have so much, issues, so many false rumors going around. At that time, this person never laid a hand on me until I turned 18. This person gave me a place to stay, a place to eat, a place to bathe. This person taught me how to drive. This person taught me a lot of my survival instincts that I know now. This person taught me a lot of things about life that I know now. And people say, well, girl, you got like a old lady. You got a wise soul. And I think that's because at that time, I was raised by someone who's much older than me. And at that time, sex wasn't the option. Sex wasn't the focal point. The focal point was getting your life on track, getting what you need done. Because for one, he was a doctor and a lawyer. So he know his rights and he know his wrongs. So he knew I'm 46-year-old with this 14-year-old child in my house. When I turned 16, he broke down the laws and rules about being an emancipated minor. And that's when I learned about that. And when I taught it to my auntie, she was like, whoa, like, what you know about that? And it was like when I brought it to her attention, it was like, wait, hold on now. Wait a minute. Wait. Like,
auntie wasn't even ready.
She wasn't ready for it. But, I think that a lot of times I tell people, I think if I didn't get kicked out at 14, if I didn't, do survival sex work, if I didn't boost and sell stuff, I don't think I would be at where I'm at now because I learned so much on my own. I learned how to be independent. I learned how to do everything on my own. And a lot of people ask me now, Jasmine, like, what are you doing with the McKinsey project? I'm like, I do everything myself. I do my websites, my logos, my flyers. I do everything. And I'm a one-stop shop. And I feel like because I'm a one-stop shop, not many trans women, specifically Black trans women, can be a one-stop shop. So I want to teach the girls in my community what I know. Because guess what? When I get this amazing drop-in center that I dream of, and then I'm saving money for now for a drop-in center that is catered to Black, transgender, and non-binary folks. When they come inside this building, I want them to know, hey, anything is possible. You can learn all this stuff that I know, all the stuff that I learned, and guess what? I could teach you how to start a business and run a business, and you don't have to worry about being homeless or sex work. And oftentimes we have so many organizations here in Miami-Dade, and Broward County, and everybody focuses the same thing. Everybody focuses on HIV testing, STI testing. Everybody focuses on PrEP. I'm not saying that I'm not going to focus on it because I have come to the conclusion that I know what I want to do with the McKinsey project as far as the training and technique, but I think I want to also cater to Black trans women living with HIV. Yeah. And I say that because I am a survivor and I am a person who has been living with HIV for over 14 years now. At 15 years old, I was diagnosed, and I'm 32 now. So you all who watching, everybody, y'all can do the math. So my focus and my thing is where I want to help more Black trans women who is living with HIV. And I tell people oftentimes, HIV doesn't have a look. It took me 5 years to get out of that mind state to say, child, I don't believe this. I'm not living with HIV. This is not real. I don't care about this. It took a long time for that. And it's like, it took 5 years for me to actually open my eyes and realize that. And what made me realize that was when I went to a doctor's appointment and I went to go do blood work because I'm 14 years old. Okay, 15 years old, find out that you're HIV positive. 5 years later, you're 20 years old. So from 15 to 20, I was out of care. And what people don't know is by me being out of care, it took a really, really big toll on me. On your body. And it took for me to go to my doctor's appointment to get blood drawn. Once the blood was drawn, all I know is I woke up in the bed. Oh, you passed out. Your numbers are extremely low. Wow. That right there was a wake-up call. Like, what the hell? What do you mean my numbers are low? At that time, I didn't know anything about a T cell, a CD4 count, a viral load. I didn't know anything about all that type of stuff. I didn't know. So at that time, that's when I said, you know what? I have one life to live. Mm-hmm. And, at that time, I was behind closed doors, dressing up to make money, to do survival sex work. And it got to the point to where as I got comfortable with, living my life like that, to where that's when I started to transition into who I am now. And I told people, they asked me, well, what made you want to do this? Because at first when I told people, hey, respect my pronouns, respect my name, respect who I am. I'm going there too. Nobody wanted to respect it. They thought, oh, she's just doing this because of the boys. No, I'm not doing this because of the boys. I'm doing this because I've been through what I've been through. I only have one life to live. I have lived my life being straight. I lived my life being a gay male. Now I'm going to live my life as being a Black trans woman who I know I can make change. And when I say make change, I don't mean make change by saying, hey, this is what I'm going to do and I don't do it. When I say I make change, I mean this is what I'm going to do and I do it and the people see that I do it. Mm-hmm. It's a difference and people don't know that. It's a big difference. So that's who Jasmine McKinsey is. That is me.
The thing I love about you already is that your transparency. So tonight, if you're watching this show, I'm in educator mode. So you're going to get some knowledge. You're going to get some information. You're going to get some stuff to help you. So tonight's show, I'm going to use my 4 E's I normally would use when I'm in the classroom or when I'm teaching my students. We're going to educate you. We're going to embrace you. We're going to empower you. And we're going to engage you. The stories that the backstory that you just gave me is so powerful. It is powerful, and people who was that iconic said, "Wow!" Like the comments are just coming in already that there's this big misconception. I love how you said this man was 46 or 48 years old.
46.
46. So what jumped out at me when you said that was people have the misconception that older people can't pour into you. They only want to pray on you. So he was pouring into you the entire time while everyone else thought he was praying on you. But he wasn't praying on you. He was trying to make sure you knew how to drive, make sure you were taken care of, make sure you had somewhere to stay, had somewhere to live. So it's that stuck out to me and struck a chord with me because people have these big misconceptions about individuals growing up that are struggling with trying to find themselves in the lifestyle. So I love how you tackled on that. And I'm going to go here. Can you share from your lens the importance of what parents are needing in the LGBTQ plus community? Why are parents needed in this community? Because they're like you just shared. There's another Jasmine out there. There's another 3 and 4, probably 3 and 4 over that are dealing with some of the same issues and challenges that are being not even faced, just being thrown at them by their families and their friends. So why are parents important?
I think well, I'm not gonna say I think. The reason why parents are important because I'm going to use, before I get into details, I'm going to use the new generation.
Okay.
And when I say the new generation consists of anyone who has come out of the closet to be lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, gender non-conforming, non-binary, two-spirited as of 2000. When the year 2000 hit, the LGBTQ generation has tremendously changed within the fashion of a heartbeat. And when I say this, I mean, back then, especially for trans folks, it wasn't easy to get surgery. Now it's easy to get surgery because most girls, they just, like I said earlier, they post up an ad, they make their money, they get their surgeries. So oftentimes now, a lot of these children really don't know the true root and essence of what a parent, of what a parent is. Of course, people say, "Oh, that's my gay mama," or "That's my gay daddy," or "That's my gay grandma." But if that's your gay mama, gay daddy, great granddaddy, or whoever you choose to call that person, why are you having sex with that person?
That's good.
I don't understand why people have these gay kids in the community and they choose to get into having sex with these kids. That's not what your role is as a parent. Your role as a parent of the LGBTQ community is to make sure you guide these children in the right direction. Help them for preventing the mistakes that you made when you were growing up as a child. And I think that's why a few of my kids and myself go through what we go through now, because they feel as if I'm always in their business or I'm trying to tell them what to do and what not to do. It's not that I'm trying to tell you what to do and what not to do. I'm a person who experienced homelessness. I'm a person who experienced being diagnosed with HIV and being in denial and almost cost my life to be gone. I am a person who have experienced. Okay, let me take a breath because it's getting a little deep for me.
Take a breath.
Just know I'm a person who experienced a lot. And when I meet people and I meet these kids and I bring them under my wings, I don't bring them under my wings because of what they can do for me. And some people does that. They bring kids under their wings because of what the kids can do. For me, I look at children in the community as in what I can do to make a change for them. If this little black girl who is trans, who is diagnosed with HIV, and she don't know where to go, guess what? I'm going to make her my child. If this trans man say, "Hey, I've been molested and I've been beaten and I've been, attacked on social media by my family," guess what? I'm going to make you my child. If you are a lesbian, and no matter what you is, I look at the issues and problems that these kids go through, and I put myself in their shoes and say what I can do to make a change in their lives. And I will say this, it's a struggle at times because sometimes these kids have to learn and bump their head before they can say, "You know what? My mama was right." And I got probably like 4 of my kids, they would never ever listen. Now, "Oh, mama, you said that. Oh, mama, you was like, mama, how you do that? Well, how you know that? Well, how you know the thing to say that?" And I'm like, y'all just don't understand. I experienced this stuff already. I've been there and I've done that. So it's like, if I'm telling you not to do this, I'm telling you that for a reason. I'm not telling you because I'm jealous or I envy you or you feel like I got a problem with you. I'm telling you this so you don't have to be hurt and broken. Right. And I practice and I preach safe sex a lot. I practice and I preach about, you know, the safe practices of HIV and STIs and stuff like that. And I often feel like a lot of the parents in our LGBT community are not speaking up on that.
Mm-hmm.
We have so many black, and anybody that's watching, just remember this: before you are LGBTQ, you are also black. Remember that. So I'm speaking to my black community right now.
Yeah.
For your black community, it is very important that your mental health is important, your sexual health is important. And nobody could ever say that there is not enough resources. There are enough resources for everybody. Mm-hmm. And I think in the community, people lack the word called research.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to get online and research for resources when there are so many resources out there. Many resources for free. Not only for just trans people. Oh, honey, well, she only got resources for trans people. No, I don't. I don't only have resources for trans people. It's just that I'm a black trans woman. I know what it is to not have resources. I know how I feel to be shut down. So my target is to make sure any black or brown trans person that comes in contact with Jasmine, I'm going to get them into care. But for my lesbians, my bisexuals, my gays, my two-spirited people, we have resources out there. Don't be scared to look it up or reach out to people. And I think that's another thing where people are in denial. And I understand that. I was in denial for 5 years. So sometimes it takes people a little more time to say, you know what, let me get up off my butt and try to figure out what I could do to make this change.
I love how when I came up with this show concept, it was like, I'm in this parenting vein, but there's a whole remnant of people that I'm missing. And I try to touch on topics for everybody. So if you're watching tonight and it's not for you, share the broadcast anyway, because this may be for somebody else who you don't know may need this information. But it's parenting from a different lens. It's crazy because there are so many young kids out here in these streets, like you said, whether they're straight, whether they're gay, whether they're trans, just trying to survive. They're looking for someone to be their ray of hope, their ray of light. So they come to school and get harassed by somebody like me, who's trying to say, son, just put your tie on, put your pants up. You know, just someone that genuinely show that they care. Or someone like Jasmine, I'm gonna say everybody, or Sah'meria and Ebony, comes into their life to pour into them, and you have no idea that I'm just giving back to them what someone gave to me, and then you end up and find out now I'm a house mother. So how did you become a house mother? That's my next question, because there's an evolution there that has gotten you to this point. How did they come about?
Okay. I joined the House with Ebony October of 2010. How I joined, I actually was, at the time, it was back in 2010, we used to have like these big hair show battles. Mm-hmm. So hair shows was really a big thing in our community. So it would be like my clique of friends will be models for this hair salon, and that clique of friends will be models for that salon. So we would actually meet up like at parks, or we would go to clubs, and we would see each other in the club, and we would battle them in like dancing, doing runway walks, voguing. And we didn't know nothing about voguing at the time. We didn't know that ballroom existed. So all we know was Naomi. That's the only person we knew at the time was Naomi, and we knew her vogue. We knew her little head. That's all we knew. So all we was doing is this and death drops. So it got to where we was in the club one day, and this person said, "Are you in the house?" And I was like, "A house?" I was like, "What's that?" And he was like, "Take down my number. He got my number. Call this person and tell them that Larry said they need to be in your house." At the time, he didn't tell me what house it was. He just said, "Go there." So I called the person. I'm looking at it. I'm like, I know this name from somewhere. I know this Delano, I know this name somewhere. I couldn't think of it. And then when I called the person, it was like, "Oh, is this such, 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 such?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Oh, you don't remember me from da-da-da?" I was like, "No." And then when he invited me to his house at a house meeting, it was all my friends. It was me, my sister Lola, my sister Maya, my brother Joe, my sister Malaysia. We all went over to the house meeting. And when I saw his face, I was like, "Oh, okay." So they was like, "We want to see what y'all got." And see, back then, all you had to do was say go, and we was like energized about it. We was walking and twirling and death dropping off of tables and roofs and all type of crazy stuff. So we was like, we was on that. So At that time, they was like, whoa, y'all got to slow down. Y'all a little too high. That's not how we do it in ballroom. So as that continued to grow, I continue to bring more people into ballroom. And not only, now I'm not going to say continue to bring people in ballroom, but into my house as well. And oftentimes I see a lot of people in the ballroom community, they say like little slick slurs and little comments about certain things. And a lot of people just don't know, like, and it's not my duty to say, hey, I did this or I did that. But a lot of people who are in the Florida ballroom scene Florida ballroom scene because of me. I have introduced people to ballroom, but they didn't become an Ebony. Ebony is not for everyone, and everyone is not for Ebony. So just because I bring you into a ballroom, that don't mean you have to be in my house. And I tell people that oftentimes it's not always about who you could get into your house, because guess what? You could bring someone into a ballroom, but they don't fit the criteria of what your house look up to or speak of as. So
okay, stop right there because you're going somewhere and I want to jump in. So since you're going there, can you explain the power behind the house? Like some people don't, like, we're educating tonight, y'all. We're talking about a lot of stuff. What can you explain the power behind a house like the House of Ebony? Let's talk about it.
I'm gonna explain the power behind the house from the House of Ebony perspective, and I'm going to also explain about it how I feel in ballroom is.
Come on.
The power behind the House of Ebony is everybody look at the House of Ebony as a banji house, a hood, ghetto, wretched house. That's what they look at the House of Ebony as. When myself and which is Sah'meria and mother and the father Dun became the South Florida parents of the House of Ebony. So we have two chapters. We have a South Florida chapter and we have a Central Florida chapter. Once we became a father and mother of the House of Ebony, then we seen other people come out as mothers that was younger. And then once we became that mother and father, we said, you know what? We are going to change the dynamics of how people look at us. So guess what? We cleaned up the look of how we dress and how we carry ourselves. And of course, if you step on our toes in the wrong way, we gonna flip some shit.
Y'all hear me?
We can hear you. So for people, they be like, "Oh, y'all ghetto, y'all Benji." We are ghetto and Benji when we have to. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, I'm taking the AirPods out. I can't play tonight because you get to the good part. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we good.
Okay. So the power. So to get back to the power behind the house is, we have molded the children's to learn how to think of your personal life first, then ballroom second. And why I say that, because oftentimes people are so focused on walking the ball, getting a trophy, getting house of the year, getting this extra point to win this $5,000 or $6,000 as a house. For us, it's not all about that. I tell people all the time, before you come into my house, make sure you have a job. Make sure you have some type of source of income. If you ain't got no source of income, we can figure out a way how to start you a business and get these coins going. So I tell people all the time, the power behind the House of Ebony, the Florida chapter, is unity. Because guess what? When you see one, you see all. When we step out, they be like, ooh. And I remember was one ball, somebody said, ooh, y'all look so good. I didn't even think y'all was Ebony's. Well, what does Ebony supposed to look like? But yeah, we changed that dynamics of how people. We changed that dynamics of how people look at the House of Ebony. We changed that, and when we go out of town, people say, "Oh, we already know y'all from Florida because the way how y'all present yourself, the way how y'all dress, y'all look so nice, y'all look so well put together." And I think that comes from when you have someone in position who is also well put together. You have these kids that look up to them leaders and say, "Well, my mom, my daddy look good. I gotta look good too."
Right.
And I just think that plays a major and an important role. So unity is one, because we always stick it together. And I would definitely say communications. We have had many times where people felt like I can't come and talk to Sah'meria about certain things, but I can go talk to the father. No, you can talk to me about whatever you want to talk to.
Right.
My thing is, I'm gonna be on you a little more harder than the daddy is, because the daddy has a more closer relationship than I do with you, because he bring in who he bring in and I bring in who I bring in. So when his people come to me saying, "Oh, I don't know if I want to talk to mama right now," I'm gonna give it to him blood real raw.
How they need it.
And I tell people sometimes in order to fix things and to make things better, you have to have uncomfortable conversations in uncomfortable places so these people can understand and they can know what it is and what's going on.
You're on it. Like, and as I come up with the questions for the show, I'm like, okay, which direction do I want to go in? But I mean, since I'm here, okay, let me take a break from ballroom for a second because we educate people tonight. Let's go here. Can we talk about using the proper pronouns? So I'm gonna come back to ballroom, y'all, but I want to get this question in here because many people don't know, many people don't understand. These are my pronouns. These are what I go by. And you have to use them properly. And if you don't use them properly, I'll become offended. So can you talk about from your lens why it's important to use the proper pronouns for individuals in any community, not just the LGBT community, in the straight community, in the gay community? These are my pronouns. Adhere to them.
Well, first I'm gonna say it's not that people don't know or don't want to know. People chose not to respect it.
That's good.
And I'm gonna start with, then I had a conversation earlier where an individual texted me on Facebook and started going off about trans people. And trans people are just men in wigs. They dudes, they this, they that. And I'm like, just because someone is trans, that doesn't mean you have to be gay. And a lot of people don't understand it. They think because you're trans, you're automatically gay.
Come on.
No. You could be gay, you could be bisexual, you could be whatever you chose to be. And that's what people don't understand. They get your gender mixed up with sexual orientation and who you go to bed with. And that's not how it should be. So for me, pronouns is very important. Not only for just trans folks, but you have non-binary people. You have two-spirited people. You have gender non-conforming people. You have queer people. You have lesbians. You have bisexual people who have certain type of pronouns. She, her, and hers is not the only pronoun that's out there in the world. We have them, they, and theirs. We have ze, their, and zers. And a lot of people don't know about those because they go to talk, well, what is that? I never heard of that. Y'all just creating something. No, it's not that we are creating something or trying to push the agenda on people. This is just the life we live in. These are the pronouns we respectfully want to be called. What's so hard about respecting someone's pronouns and just calling them their pronouns? You don't have to like someone or you don't have to agree to what they like, but you need to respect people. Respect is due to a dog.
Yeah.
And people need to understand that pronouns are very important because sometimes some people, especially trans people and a few non-binary people, they are fighting gender dysphoria. And when you don't get those pronouns right, that gender dysphoria trigger goes off at an alarming rate, and it causes people to deal with depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts. It goes a long ways, and it becomes harmful for people, not just trans people, but people in general. Because guess what? I'm pretty sure if you want somebody to call you a name that you want to be called, you expect for them to respect that without no questions asked and just to call you that name. But we have people in society who choose not to go by that level of respect to call people by their pronouns. And I must say this, and a lot of people might get upset what I'm about to say.
That'd be all right.
But guess what?
I got your back.
And this, I ain't worried about them. This is something that I have been able to look at and witness for the past 3 years. And it first started when I was working at an organization here in Miami called Pride Lives, when I was working with a lot of youth. And a lot of the youth that I was working with was not specifically Black youth. There was a lot of Latinx and white youth who were privileged. And I watch and I sit and I listen to how these privileged white kids and these kids' mothers and daddies respect them with their pronouns, respect them with their transitions. But when it comes to the Black culture, for the stereotype of how people are raised, Black people cannot be respected with the true pronouns that they choose to be called by. And it disgusts me that we have to go through that in the Black culture, and it shouldn't be that way. People are so stuck on the stereotype about how people should be raised when they are born. And I was to get off topic. I don't want to get off topic, but somebody just jumped at me when I heard, because I had to think about when somebody said, y'all need to stop trying to push the agenda of being trans and non-binary on people. That's what they said. But guess what? When I was young, when I was growing up, I was being pushed the agenda to be straight. I was pushed on the agenda to not date boys. I was pushed the agenda to date girls and to have sex with girls. That's the agenda that I was pushed. So my thing for anybody who is heterosexual or cisgender that's watching this video, how do you feel about someone who's being pushed on with stuff like that? We listen to music. We have how these kids talk about these songs. Talk about I'm gonna kill this nigga. I'm gonna shoot this hoe. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do all this stuff. But when someone who is a part of the LGBTQ choose to live freely and say what they want to say and speak how they want to speak, we have to be the ones that's pushing the LGBTQ agenda on people. Y'all need to stop that bullshit. Please stop it. Stop it.
I love how you just summed that up. And it's crazy for me because I was having a conversation with a colleague the other day. We're getting ready to open up the school and we got to do all these professional developments and things like that. So I said, well, just so you know, just a rule of thumb, I said, when you get up and you introduce yourself, I said, say good morning, everyone. She said, well, why can't I say good morning, ladies and gentlemen? I said, because some people don't identify as a lady or a gentleman. So it's safe to say good morning, everyone, just to not even put yourself in the line of fire, because someone will come at you by saying, well, I don't identify as a lady or a gentleman. So, it's crazy how we're having these conversations. And even in the workplace, just to empower other individuals who just don't know. And it's not that, it's like you said, people have been pushing their agenda on everyone for years. So it's not like a pushing an agenda. It's just, I want to be respected as he, him, his. I want to be respected as they, them, theirs. It's just, this is how I expect to be received. This is how I expect to be addressed. And that's all I'm asking. It's like you said, it's just respect. It's simple respect that we're asking for in honor of the pronouns. And why is it so hard to just say
whatever we choose to be?
Pronouns are.
Yeah.
So no, I know. Thank you. I said, I have to ask her this question because this is just something that everybody's dealing with. And nobody, I'm taking the time to address some stuff tonight. That's why I thank you for coming on. I'm gonna go here. What do you think, Jazz, is the biggest misconception about trans men and women?
Wait. Before I get on this, because this might get a little deep.
Okay.
For anybody that's watching, when you walk in a room, you can say, hello, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, folks. Good afternoon, community. Those are some words that you can remember to use, because a few months ago, I had an issue where I was at someone.
That's for free, y'all. That's for free. She gave it to y'all for free.
Yeah. So I was at somebody's house, and it was nothing but trans women inside their room. And this individual came and say, hey y'all guys, how y'all guys doing? And I'm like, who this bitch talking? Who is she talking to? And I'm like, everybody's like, well, the other trans girl was like, well, it's not that serious, girl. I said, no, it is that serious. I said, because guess what? What if I was a person who was a fighter of gender dysphoria? And that word could have triggered me to make me think of something. How you don't know if a trans person in this room was someone who was brutally beaten, raped, and that was the last word that they heard say was guys. See, people don't really sit and think about things because they don't put themselves in those shoes, or they don't experience or they try not to educate themselves.
Yeah.
But I think people need to sometimes sit back, listen, and watch. And then maybe the world could become a better place. Now, back to your question about the misconception. I oftentimes, and I'm going to use the story from earlier to give you, to help answer that question.
Oh, you're good.
Like the dude he was doing all this carrying on about trans people. And in my mind, I'm like, I feel like he's fighting a demon that he can't fight. So he's going to continue to text me and talk crazy. So I said, well, I'm pretty sure you don't watch trans porn, and excuse my language, y'all. I said, I'm pretty sure you don't watch some trans porn, you don't jack your dick to it. And guess what he said? Oh, yeah, I do it all the time. But when I talk to my God told me it was wrong. So guess what that leads you to? The way how men think of trans people. The way men think of trans people is as a fantasy. They fetishize. And that's all they think of. And now that more trans men are coming to the forefront, I see a lot of people on social media like, oh my God, yeah, he look good. Oh, I do this to him. I do that to him. Y'all doing the same thing And it's a lot of gay men that's doing it. Y'all doing the same thing that these so-called heterosexual men are doing to trans women. They are fetishizing and having these fantasies about trans women. And that goes back to that man who said what he said. You don't like trans women, but you masturbate to trans women. So that goes back into you will be one of them same black men who will actually meet up with a trans woman, have sex with her, and then after you have sex with her, because you felt like that was wrong, you want to kill her, you want to shoot her, you want to harm her. And then guess what? Again, we have another case of another black trans woman whose body was found in a hotel room or on the side of the bridge or on in some car somewhere. This is how these stories take place. And this is not make-believe, people. This is real life. This is what trans people have to face on a daily. And people just don't understand that.
You just messed me all the way up. Not in a good way. You messed me up because you answered that question, but my other question was, what do you want people to know as it relates to the significance of trans lives? But before you answer that question, you messed me up because there are so many trans lives being lost to foolishness. And you never really, you hear about it, but it really strikes a chord when it hits home. So I'm having a transparent moment like you just had. So for me, I'm from Dallas. So when the Malaysia Booker stuff hit the news, I know exactly where that apartment complex is. I grew up in Oak Cliff, Texas. I know exactly where Royal Crest is, where the whole incident happened and took place. And I'm like, it threw me because I know when I saw it, I'm like, I know exactly what the hell this is. This is putting on my heartstrings because this could have been, I mean, to be honest, one of my former students. This could have been, I mean, I don't know Malaysia realistically, but this could have been one of my former students that I taught in school. It could have been one of the kids in my community or whatever. And then the fact that I know exactly where this took place, it messed me up. And I was like, well, what is the misconception about? Well, we're talking about Black Lives Matter, but when it's Black lives, it's trans lives, hell, everybody's lives matter. But it seems like the trans community is getting like the worst hit, the worst blunt of the stick because people don't understand, but people are also uneducated. So like it says in the Bible, people suffer because of lack of knowledge. So tonight we're taking the time to give you guys knowledge and parenting from a different lens because so many gay males and females, trans men and women, non-binary women have been
non-binary folks. It's non-binary folks.
Non-binary folks have been taught to fend for themselves. So they've had to find parenting from other avenues. They've dealt with, I got it on my paper. They've dealt with mental health challenges. And it's not just mental health specifically, but it's like dealing with seeking acceptance, dealing with depression, dealing with self-love, just dealing with a sense of belonging. So they find houses to join, or they find older individuals to pour into them and not prey upon them prayerfully. And it's crazy. So can you talk about the significance of, or what do you want people to know about the significance of what trans lives are?
Okay. For one, I want people to know that the trans community has never been a problem. It's America in denial about the obsession that they have with trans people.
Tell it.
That's for one. And for two, I think people need to understand that we are human, just like you. We bleed blood, just like you. We take showers, just like you. We die, just like you. The same thing that you do, we do as well. The only thing is we live to be our authentic self and become who we choose to be. I mean, who we want to be, and not who people want us to choose to be. And I hate when people feel as if it's an issue or it's a problem to be trans. It's not an issue or problem. Let us live our life, because guess what? 9 times out of 10, when you go somewhere and you meet trans people, those are the same ones who is at the forefront that is fighting for what is right. When we had this Black Lives Matter movement go on, who was at the forefront making sure it existed? A Black trans woman. And oftentimes we hear people say Black Lives Matter. I personally don't believe Black Lives Matter. Because when it comes down to the trans community, we don't see people having riots. We don't see people burning down buildings. We don't see people knocking the police upside the heads. We don't see no one who's going down to that police department to make sure the chief deputy know what's going on in the community, to know the correct pronouns and how to address these issues that's going around in our countries and states and cities and all that good stuff about trans people, because they don't care. They don't care. So I need people to understand just how the cisgender community has what they do and how they live. We are human too.
Yeah,
we are human. If you can't respect that, then you need to check yourself and move on. And I'm gonna tell people all the time, you ain't gotta respect me. I don't ask for respect. I demand my respect.
Give it to me when I walk in the door.
I demand my respect.
I know who I am, and I'm confident in who I am.
Exactly.
Look. Okay, so I'll go here. As a parent, Sah'meria, Ebony, how did you encounter most of your children for the very first time? Like, what happened with them to say, "Hey," you just like, you know what? You don't even have to answer the question. Just come on. Let me just.
Well, 3 of my kids actually made me their mothers on their own. They just like, oh, that was you on. You just did that pageant. Oh, you my mama. I'll make you my mama. And it happened all at 3 different pageants that I did and I won. And these individuals, they made me their mother. They made me their mom. They like, you ain't going nowhere. You gonna be my mama. And ever since then, we've been, close like that. I would say a lot of people, they watch and see what I do on social media. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna tell people this: people really watch.
They do.
They really watch, literally. And I say this because there's an individual who lives out of town who is a trans man. He's my first trans man child. And he's someone who was watching me. I had no idea that this person was watching me. I just know that one day we was having a conversation. He was like, oh yeah, I watch you all the time. I see how you move with your house. I see how y'all take pictures, how you do photo shoots, how y'all go out. I see all this stuff. So it's like people really watch. And when people watch, these kids, sometimes they get to choose who they want to be their mothers and fathers. And sometimes I get to pick and choose who I want to be my kids. So I do a lot of things based on the experience that we have. A lot of my kids, they experienced a lot of stuff that was similar to me growing up, regardless if it's like family issues, mental issues, personal issues, whatever the case may be. I like to sit down and chit chat and talk with people. And when I feel that energy, because I'm a person that I can talk to you one time and I can feel your energy. And that's something that my kids don't like, because they'll bring somebody around and I'll be like, don't bring her back to my house. Why? I don't like her energy. That's not your friend. And they're like, well, you don't even know her.
So like a true mother.
And a few months later, oh, mama, you told me that wasn't my friend. Oh, mama, you said this. Oh, yeah. It's like, I pick up on people's energy. Yeah. So it's like once I meet someone and I know that energy is there, and I hear that person who is crying out for help, you don't have to tell me that you need help. I can have a conversation with you and know that you need help. Yeah. And when I know that you need help, I make it my job to ease myself into the situation and make sure you're in the right circumstance to get things done without you even knowing that I know.
I love it. I spoke like a true mother. But they say mother knows, mother knows.
Yes. Mother knows best.
So I'm gonna go here. So being in a community, being in a subgroup in that community, how stressful is that? Like I'm a part of the movement, but trans lives do matter in the midst of all the other stuff that we're fighting about, that we're fighting for rights for, that we're being vocal about. How stressful is that for you?
I wouldn't use the term stressful. I would definitely use the term no sleep. Mm-hmm. Because I don't get no sleep. And I try to juggle both communities. And, sometimes people don't know, or people don't even think to say, well, you know what? Let me call Jasmine to see what's going on, see how she is. Because most of the times when people are asleep, I'm up. I'm up trying to figure out what I can do with this, what I can do with that. And right now, I have a lot of things that I'm focused on, because right now, I am the co-chair for Trans Pride for a lot of them. Mm-hmm. So I'm up late nights working on that. I have also created the Trans Game, which is an indoor-outdoor sporting event for transgender and non-binary people to come together under one roof, and we can play sports without being stigmatized, hurt, or harmed. And I've been working on that, doing my planning committee. I've been reaching out to openly LGBTQ football players, baseball players. I've been on the move, like I'm on the go. And then I'm also up late night trying to figure out, this person want to get a free HIV test. So guess what? I got to get in my car and go to that hotel to make sure this person get this free HIV test. I'm up late night trying to figure out how we're going to continue to build my structure for the McKinsey project. So when I get this building, I know what area or what way I need to go. And I know how to put this stuff in these grants so I can get this grant funding to really use the funding that I get.
Because it's coming.
And I'm going to repeat that. To really use the funding that I get. I'm not going to be that person who's going to get the grant funding and not use it. I'm going to use it the right way and the correct way. So I'm up trying to juggle all of that, all of this and all of that. And then that goes back into my community. Oh, this person who is gay just got into an issue where a group of boys have just jumped on him because he chose to be gay, homophobic. So guess what? I'm out there trying to figure out why they put their hands on him.
Right.
And people are like, well, dang, Jasmine, you so fearless. Yes, I have to be fearless because when you, in this world, when people feel that you are weak and you are scared, they're going to try your set.
You better know it.
And I know for me, from growing up in the hood, I have always learned to never back down from a fight. Stand 10 toes down and be yourself. And guess what? That has put me in a position to get a lot of things done down here in South Florida. A lot of people may not feel that it's the right way to do it, but guess what? That's my way of getting things. That's my way of making people do change. That's my way of making change with the people in my community.
Love it. I'm going to stay there since you're there. What are 3 impactful traits of an impactful LGBTQ plus parent?
Woo!
Prayer.
Well, prayer is always number one. So I think everybody should know prayer. I think honesty is 1. Having unconditional love is 2. And respect is 3. And I'm going to say that because I felt like me as a person growing up, I didn't have the proper respect from my family. Mm-hmm. I didn't have the correct. I don't think people was honest with me when I was younger, when I said, hey, this is what I needed and what I wanted. And when I say unconditional love, that's because it took many years for the person who was my aunt who kicked me out, who is now my number 1 cheerleader. She's my number 1 cheerleader. She have had her ups and downs with calling me the correct pronouns. She had her ups and downs of calling me by my name that's changed with the government. She have had these struggles and these barriers, but I always had to sit down with her and tell her, hey, my name is this, my pronouns is this. And when she talk about my friends, I do the same thing. That her pronouns are this, her name is this. So it's like now, when I first started into my transition, it was terrible. Mm-hmm. Now I go somewhere with her. Before I can say anything to somebody, she already checking their head. You better mention the family. Her pronouns is this, or her name is this. Like she on their ass like white, right on rights. And it took some time for her to get there, but I think she has arrived and she's there. And I think it's because it took a lot of conversations, a lot of fussing, a lot of arguments, a lot of tears, a lot of late night phone calls. It took so much to get there. But I think it's so worth it that it's there. But why in the Black culture does it take that long for it to get there? Because guess what? When I was 15, 14 years old, if all that would have been nipped in the bud at that time, I wouldn't have to deal with homelessness. I wouldn't have to deal with doing survival sex work or going to somebody's stores to steal some clothes and outfits and sell it as a booster on the street. I wouldn't have to go through all that. I probably honestly won't even be here talking to you about what it is to be a Black trans woman as a parent in the LGBTQ plus community. But see, it goes back to, I tell people all the time, sometimes you have to really sit back and think about things. And what people don't realize is, regardless if your child chose to be lesbian, gay, bisexual, whatever your child chose to be, the most important thing any child wants from a parent is love. Love and respect. Long as you can love your child and you respect your child, guess what? That child is going to be the best child that child could be. And that's what we lack that. We lack that. We lack that so much in this community. And I don't know when it's going to stop. I don't know what it's going to take to stop, but it needs to stop.
Period. purr, like Roland Ray say purr.
Purr.
So I got is it messy?
X away. X.
How authentic are shows like Pose and Legendary from your perspective?
Okay. I'm gonna break this down.
Okay. Yeah.
When I watch,
So let me be honest. So watching Pose really pushed me to do this show. I'm like, I feel like I'm missing something. I said, you know what? I need to look at parenting from a different lens. Bam! I'm watching Pose. I'm seeing what Blanca and Electra are doing. You got Poppy, you got Angel. Like, there's a whole community that I'm missing for this parenting piece. Bam! I got to do a show on it, which led me to this. But I said, let me ask someone who's in the community. Is this shit?
Okay, let me break it down. I'm gonna break it down from Pose to Legendary.
Okay.
For me, I'm gonna say Pose is very authentic, and why I say that because when so many people watch that show, the first thing they say is, "Oh my God, you remind me of Blanca. Mm-hmm. You are the Blanca of Florida." So many people say that. So many of my kids, even people from like that's not even my kids, they say you remind me. You the same thing, the same way how Blanca do with her kids. That's just how you is. You finna go to the doctor's office with your child. You finna go at the courthouse with your child. You finna do whatever it is. And when they asking you who you is, I'm the mother. I am, because guess what? That's my reason for being. I'm their mother to be there, because guess what? They don't have their biological mothers and fathers to be there at court or make sure. They just don't have their parents. So I'm gonna make sure I am there. So for me, I'm gonna say Pose is very authentic. Very a lot of stuff that took place in Pose is a lot of stuff that actually took place in Ballroom. And I'm gonna say go back to the very, very first episode of Pose when they went inside that museum and they stole those outfits and they put on outfits that actually happened in real life with my house. It was the house of Ebony that did that some years where they went and stole all these clothes. They put the clothes on. They went and walked the ball, and that was a real story. That really happened. So a lot of the stuff that took place in Pose was stuff that really took place. And then also when they went to the era of about HIV and the different medication, that's real. We had people that was dropping like flies, and then here we are in 2020, 2021. People are consistently dropping like flies from the COVID-19. Mm-hmm. And it's like people just don't understand, and they don't look at things. They just look at it as, okay, this is a show that has people of the LGBTQ community, and I'm just gonna watch it. No, motherfucker, this is real life. These are struggles. These are issues that we really go through. How the same way how them girls are on there doing sex work, that's the same way how we still in America are dealing with sex work. Still to this day, trans women are still dealing with the issue and the impact of survival sex work. When you go into a room where you're being discriminated because you're trans, you can't get a job here. We still face these issues. We still face this. Like the episode when Angel went on there and they asked her about why you feel like you should be the girl for the campaign.
Right.
What do you mean why? Why not? Why not? What made you ask that question to feel like you needed to ask me why I'm not the girl for the campaign? If I don't stand here and I don't do all this stuff, I don't do all these photo shoots and all this good stuff, why are you asking me why am I the girl for the campaign?
Lisa, you're right, Lisa. She on fire tonight.
So it's just like I appreciate Pose so much because it had opened a lot of eyes for a lot of people. A lot of people, especially a lot of people in the cisgender community, they have come to watch Pose and they have came to understand this is important. This is a fight. I am Black and my trans cousin is Black too. So because she's trans, I'm not worried about that. That's my cousin and she's Black. So I'm in this fight with her. Exactly. Why can't there number of people think like that to say, you know what, I'm in this fight with you because we're both the same skin tone. I'm in this fight because you are my blood cousin or my blood relative, or I am a true ally that stands beside you for what you are here for. Mm-hmm. So that is that point. Now I'm going to get on Legendary. Now, woo!
Yeah.
Let me make sure I get this all right. What people don't know, or I'm not going to say they know, people don't pay attention of that Legendary was more so of a performance entertainment reality show.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go on reality shows, 9 times out of 10 they tell you what they want. I auditioned for America's Best Dance Crew back in my days, probably like 4 times back to back. And it was this one time where we almost made it, and they told us, well, you know what? We have a crew that's already on the show. Y'all have the same style, and we didn't know what they meant about that. And then when we actually watched the show, we saw the dance crew called Fanny Pack, and we was like, well, damn, we got this. They style is like ours. So when we watched it, we was like, okay, we see where it's going. So when you're watching these reality shows like Legendary, which it has the entertainment part of ballroom, I don't often believe that it's authentic because they tell you what to wear, they tell you how to say things, they tell you how to word things. They have people that sign contracts to make it to a certain level of episodes. Yeah. So for me, that's not authentic. If you're giving this house a contract to sign that say you're gonna last to the second episode, you're not being authentic. If you say I think that's what draw the lines for me. But I like Legendary. It's very entertaining. And I also think that when people watch Legendary, it makes these people who are in ballroom step their games up when it comes to performance as a house or when it comes to doing production in ballroom. And oftentimes that was my big issue because I'm a trained dancer, so I was always trained to do production type stuff. So when I saw Legendary, I appreciated it in so many ways because, you know, in ballroom, people don't really do real productions. Mm-hmm. And I was so happy to see that they was actually putting on productions. But I will say that, yes, Miharia, the drive and the talent is real. It's very real. And I appreciate Legendary for letting these people who are part of the ballroom to come on national TV to showcase their skills and their talent. Because a lot of people, I'm pretty sure, I know for me, a lot of people that I see I didn't even know they could even vogue or do a runway. I was like, well, I didn't know she could do that. It's like, you know, sometimes you never know who could be a triple threat. And right. That show showed me that voguing is not the only thing some people could do. Right. It opened the doors for different categories. And it'll probably also help mold a couple of those people to open their eyes to say, you know what, I can be more. I can do more. So let me try to walk a new category. And Legendary opened that door for them to say, hey, let me build that confidence to get it going.
I love it. Look, it's just like my almost last question. So since you're on ballroom, let's talk about it. What does ballroom mean to you, Sah'meria Ebony? What does it build? What does it teach you? So think about you. Think about your children. What does it mean to you? What does it help build within the house of Ebony, within yourself as a person? And then what does it teach you?
Ballroom to me is family. Mm-hmm. That's what it is for me. It's family. And I'm going to say family because everybody who was actually in my house was actually like people who I grew up with in my community. So these wasn't just people who just joined ballroom. These are people who I was able to see grow from a younger child to now. I got to see a lot of people grow into their transitions. So for me, that's very powerful because a lot of trans women are not here today to say what I'm saying. They don't get to see these kids grow into their transition to be who they truly want to be. It's another part of the question. Let me see if I got it on my computer because I'm missing it.
I got you. What does it build? I put it back up. What does it build? What does it teach? Like, what does it teach?
Okay, now what does it build? I think ballroom as a whole has been able to build more unity within the LGBTQ plus community because sometimes I often feel like, you know, we don't have enough representation or enough people coming together as one. And I'm going to specifically go back into what I always say, back into the trans community. In the trans community down here in South Florida, we don't have no unity because we have girls who feel like they're realer than the next person, or this person is not real enough to sit with me, or this person is not passable, or this person don't have the right body frame, or this person don't have breasts. It's like we go through all this stuff about how people think you should be within your transition, but I like the fact that in ballroom, we don't care about that. You my sister, you trans, you're a femme queen. In ballroom, trans women are considered femme queens. And in ballroom, when they call you a femme queen, it's like you get that good old praise and now high almighty, this is the queen. So for me, I always tell people, femme queens are the queens of ballroom. And that is something that I like to see within the ballroom community, how they stick together. Now, let me tell you something. We may not be in the same house, But guess what? When we go out of town and something goes wrong, guess what? The whole Florida is sticking together like white rice.
Come on.
Always. What was the last question?
Oh, like what like for one of your children coming into the scene, comes into the house of Ebony, what does ballroom teach you?
Woo! That's a long list, Lord Jesus. For me, I'm gonna say ballroom is gonna teach you to be the person you didn't think you could be. Mm-hmm. That's for one. To be better than you was 5 years ago. Ballroom will also teach you what the true essence of what family should be. I can't speak for every house. I'm going to speak for my house. So it teaches you what the true essence of what a family is. We might fuss, we may argue, we might fight. But guess what? When you call somebody that's in this house and you need something, baby, they is there. No matter what time it is, they there. They is there for you. So that's that. I feel like I'm missing a piece of this question. I feel like I'm missing something.
So I love how you said the community and then just the connectedness, no matter what house you're from. Like you said, if we go somewhere and we all Florida, we
Florida.
We pull it up. It don't matter what house. I love how Pose was. I see you, Cliff. I love how Pose. I love how Pose connected. I thought it connected the whole story. It didn't just show the ballroom. It showed the highs. It showed the lows. It showed the big wedding at the end. I'm still mad the show going off the air, to be honest.
I was gonna say about that because I personally feel that I'm upset that it's over with. But I felt like there is more to ballroom now in the new generation that needs to be seen. And I personally felt like if Pose would have continued to go, it will definitely change a totally different dynamic. We understand that Pose has already changed the dynamic of the way people look and think about LGBTQ plus people. But I personally believe that if the show was to go on with a season 4 and then season 5, which would bring us to the 2000s and the 2005s and the 2007s and the 2021s, where real life shit is happening. People are really going through what they're going through. People can understand, okay, wait, this is now. This is what they're going through now. So what can I do to help make that change?
That's it.
So, I mean, hopefully somewhere down the line, we have some type of show that's going to come out about ballroom and, do some more education. So I really think the fact that Janet Mock and Ryan Murphy was able to come together under one roof and he let her get her space, that's what you call a true ally.
Exactly.
That's what you call a true ally. He is a gay, white, privileged male who opened that door and let her walk through that door and share her story and her experience. That's what you call an ally. So if anybody want to know what the true definition of an ally, Ryan Murphy was a true ally to Jenna Mark. Even though she may feel that she has not been able to get paid the amount of money that she's supposed to get, but guess what? He still was an ally to even start this TV show. So it was able to touch and impact a lot of people in our community, not only in the LGBTQ plus community, but people who are cisgender male and female. Because I have a lot of my little friends who are like, oh, yeah, I watched that show, man, with my baby mom, man. She was in there crying like a bitch, man, but that shit was so good, man. I was like, oh, okay, but what did you learn? What did you learn? What did you hear? What did you understand?
Listen. That episode with Candy, Sweet Refrain, that will always be one of my most favorite episodes. I'm like, okay, let me stay on task. Jay, what's next for you? How can people keep up with you? You've shared a lot tonight. No, let me start by saying thank you. You've shared a lot of information tonight, just in general. Then how you just delve into those topics. I really appreciate you for just saying yes. But what's next for you? What's next for the Mackenzie Project? How can people keep up with you? Somebody's going to reach out to you because of this show. I'm already speaking. They're probably watching in London right now, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning, but they're going to reach out to you. Or they may be watching in California right now, and it's 6:14. But somebody's going to reach out to you from this show tonight because you shared a lot of information and inspiration and encouragement. So how can they keep up with you? What's coming up for you?
Okay, what's next for me? Right now, I feel like this is a fight that I've been fighting. And oftentimes I'm so used to doing stuff independently. So it's like I like to do stuff on my own. But the next big thing for me right now is actually getting a building space to have and create this drop-in center that is catered to Black and brown, trans people, trans and non-binary people in South Florida. I want that. That's my next big thing. I wanted to be in Miami, Florida, where people can come take showers. They can get clothes, shoes, wigs, makeup, do resume building, all that good stuff. So my main big focus is branching out to make the McKinsey Project bigger than what it is. A lot of times in South Florida, a lot of people don't want to help Jasmine because they feel as if Jasmine is a threat. But I tell myself all the time, like, I don't want to do stuff what the next person is doing. I don't want to step on no one's toes. So that's why I created what I created with the McKinsey Project. I didn't want my project or my organization just to be based on HIV testing, because I know how it is to have to meet those monthly grant deliverables of getting these tests. I don't want to be sitting here slaving trying to figure out, oh my God, do I got 40 tests this month? Oh my God, if I don't do these tests or have these numbers, it's going to be an issue or a problem. I don't want that. I don't want that hassle. I don't want that problem. I want to do something where I get to be creative, I get to be innovative, and I get to be who I am and showcase what I know. Because a lot of people just see Jasmine as this Black trans woman who has started the McKinsey Project, who is a mother of the House of Ebony, but people haven't really sat down to actually have a conversation to see what I know. They feel because I am a Black trans woman who has been in this doing community activism work within the last 3 years, they feel as if I don't know no better. And I don't even like to use the word activist, because when you are an activist, people expect for you to talk a certain way. I'm a voice. I'm going to voice my opinion. I'm going to use my voice how I want to use it, because guess what? That's me. I'm being authentically myself. It was another question you asked. It disappeared on me.
What's next for you, and how can people keep up with you?
Well, I do have a website. I kind of updated it a little bit last night. TheMcKinseyProject.org. If you want to find me on anything, let me see. You probably can't see it on here, but everything is the McKinsey Project. Facebook, the McKinsey Project Inc. Instagram, the McKinsey Project. Twitter, McKinsey Project. Website, the McKinsey Project. Cash App, the McKinsey Project. PayPal, the McKinsey Project. You go to google.com, you type in the McKinsey Project, everything you need to know right there. YouTube channel, the McKinsey Project. Everything is the McKinsey Project. And I am so grateful and so blessed that I was able to have everything of all these different platforms to say the McKinsey Project, because sometimes when you come up with these names, you be like, okay, this is gonna be the McKinsey Project, but you got to change the name for something. So I'm very blessed, and I'm very thankful that I was able to choose this name, and this name was able to be branded on every platform there is with social media. And the McKinsey Project came from my last name, as in McKinsey. And it took me a hard time trying to figure out what this project was, because I was actually a part of a cohort with AIDS United, and they gave us a certain amount of money to start a service project. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. At first, I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do fashion. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And my mind was just everywhere. And then I just really sat there and I was like, well, what don't we have in Miami? What we don't got? And I was like, we ain't got no drop-in center that's catered to transgender and non-binary people. And I said, okay. Then I wrote out the name. I said, well, how would this name look on a building? That was the first thing. I was like, how is it going to look on a building? And I started asking my kid, well, how y'all think this name going to look on, like, when you walk up on a building, you sit on the wall? They're like, Mama, it's going to look good. You thinking too hard.
Right.
So that's how I ended up coming up with the McKinsey Project. And then I wanted to get it incorporated. People was like, no, it's going to be too expensive. You're not going to be able to do it. Don't do it. It's going to take a long time. I did everything myself. You may see her on here. That's on Facebook, Lisa Carver. She's been a true ally since I met her. She was the person that hired me at my first job to let me use my voice. And ever since then, she has not let me down. I didn't even call Lisa and tell Lisa that I was applying for a 501c3. I did everything on my own, because I tell people all the time, sometimes you got to show people that you ain't nothing to be played with.
Yeah.
So I had to show them, like, okay, y'all telling me that this is what I can't do. I'm gonna show y'all that I can do
it. Period. That's it. No, my listen, Jasmine.
Or whatever that you want to call me, Mom, Jazz, Sah'meria,
Jasmine, McKinsey, Sah'meria, Ebony. I thank you tonight for joining me. I have learned so much from you, and just to be quite transparent to you and to be quite honest with you, I have a student this year in my building who's transitioned since we left before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So tonight's show has even helped me be in a better headspace and position to help Diamond when she comes in my building in 2 weeks. I want to make sure that I am addressing Diamond by the right pronouns, make sure that I'm putting things in place to where Diamond doesn't feel isolated and things like that. Because I work in a high school, so to be having a student come in who left one way before COVID is coming back in fully transitioned and is a senior, I want to make sure that I do the right things and I put the right steps in place to make sure that student doesn't feel isolated on an island by themselves. So, Lord, you've helped me a lot tonight, just personally. So I'm thankful for you helping me to make this 1 year anniversary show amazing. I appreciate you so much. I am so proud of the work you are doing. Thank you for joining me. Thank you guys for watching tonight. Lisa, you're right. This is only the beginning. We gotta do a part 2 because there's still some more I didn't get to. Mihari, I see you. I love it. The comments, yeah, we come back to part 2. I don't know when. I got it, Jasmine. This platform here is for you. You can always come back. Anything you have coming down the pipeline, any new products or whatever, you're always welcome to come and reach out to me. We're gonna stay in touch definitely because I have some things I want to connect with you with. Coming up, this has been this week's edition of Dialogues with Doc. I have another amazing show next Wednesday at 8 p.m. with another amazing guest, another amazing survivor that's doing some amazing things. I will see you guys then. Follow Jasmine at the McKenzie Project on everything: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everything like that, because she is doing things in
every social media, even Snapchat,
everything she has.
McKenzie Project.
Jasmine, do me a favor. Don't log out. I'm gonna come right back and talk to you. Okay.
Okay.
See you guys next Wednesday.